Okay, so here we are live once again, and I grabbed the wrong one because we got another figure for our Black History Month theme, and it's a white guy. I didn't plan it this way, man. Like, it's one of those things where, you know, uh, it's a wave of Black Panther action figures, and they got to have the Tolkien white guy. So on the set of the first Black Panther movie, there were two white characters played by white actors, and they both happened to be in Lord of the Rings movies because you know uh, uh, drawing a blank on his name right now. Why am I drawing a blank on this guy's name? He's a great actor. Uh, mm, that's frustrating. Martin Freeman. All right. So he was of course Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit, and Andy Serkis was Gollum, of course. So the joke on set was that they were the Tolkien white guys. So yeah, and he comes with Build-A-Figure pieces. So he comes with the right, or I'm sorry, the left arm. Is it? So this is the right arm. The right arm. I'm sorry, I'm looking at it backwards. The right arm of Atuma and Atuma's weapons, and he comes with a pistol. And I've actually opened this guy before because I got some for some customs I was working on, and so I've actually opened this one before. This is a rare example of me opening something on this show that I've already opened before, unless it's a vintage figure. That doesn't happen very often. But at the time, like, I had a lot of stuff to do, and I was like, screw it. This is just going to be for a custom anyway. It doesn't need an unboxing. And, besides, I might go ahead and do the whole wave later on anyway, once I have the whole wave. And of course, that's what I wound up doing. Hey there, Sean Franklin. I do use eBay quite a bit, actually. I don't really sell anything on eBay, but I buy a lot of stuff on eBay. By the way, uh, that kind of reminds me of something. So one of the figures that I got upcoming, and I intend for this to be the last figure in my Black History Month series, is going to be Sunman. And I just recently got this off a Big Bad Toy Store. Excuse me, I'm still getting over this cough. But yeah, I got that off a Big Bad Toy Store, and I realized also that I had this guy. So I have Sunman and I have Pighead, but the Sunman I have is the Origins version, and the Pighead I have is the Masterverse version, so they're not compatible. So when I was looking for an Origins Pighead on eBay, I found the 3-pack from Target that I never got a chance to get, that has Pighead and the flat top version of Sunman and Space Sumo. So hopefully that'll be coming to me soon, but I don't know exactly when. Uh, excuse me. I haven't coughed all day until I start doing a YouTube video. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know if it'll get to me in time for Black History Month, but it'll be something that I open up later on. It'll be fine. So let's go ahead and see if we can get Atuma's arm into the socket, and hopefully goes a little easier than the last one did. And sure enough, there we go. So there is, pretty much 60% of Atuma. He just needs the legs. So, and let's go ahead and put those weapons in his hands. And like most of the Atlantean characters in the MCU, which I know it's not really called Atlantis in the movie, but I'm going to call it Atlantis because that's what it was called in the comic book. He's got this kind of, Mesoamerican, native South American sort of aesthetic to him, which I think is kind of interesting. I know a lot of people had some problems with it and wanted it to be more like the traditional comic book, but I actually did not have a problem with it. I thought it was all right. Actually, I think it's going to work better if I put this weapon in his left hand, because it seems like that one has a slightly looser grip, and to put this one with the more narrow handle in his right hand. So there we go. Then we can see him with the weapons, and that's why I wanted to open up. That's why I wanted to open up. Drawing a blank. I forgot what figure it was. Uh, Submariner, Namor, duh. That's why I wanted to open Namor and put the arm in first, so that way I would have both arms to hold both accessories. See, I always have some kind of logic as to how I'm putting together these Build-A-Figures and how I open the package. And it doesn't always match up with what Marvel themselves recommends. They actually had you putting on the legs first, but I was going to put on the legs last because I wanted to save T'Challa for being the last figure of the Black Panther wave. I wanted to save the best for last, of course. And he's the main character. Maybe not the main character of the movie because he's dead in the movie, but but he's the main character of the wave. It's a Black Panther wave. I want to open the Black Panther figure. Makes sense, right? I think it makes sense. All right, so here is Everett Scott out of the package. And you know what? I forgot there's one more accessory. He's got a pistol. Here we go. And that's what the pistol looks like. So let's go ahead and set that aside for now. And this is an excellent likeness of Martin Freeman. So it almost makes me want to go and dig Doctor Strange out of the bin I've got him in storage, so that then I can play Sherlock Holmes. It's crazy to me that that they have Robert Downey Jr., who played Sherlock Holmes, and Jude Law, who played as Watson in the MCU, and then they had Benedict Cumberbatch, who played Sherlock Holmes, and they got Martin Freeman, who played his Watson in the MCU, and nobody ever made a no shit Sherlock joke. Crazy, right? So I actually started watching the Sherlock in the first place because Martin Freeman was cast as Watson, and I thought that he was an excellent choice to play Watson. That's the main reason. I wasn't even familiar with Benedict Cumberbatch at the time. I think like a lot of people, at least in the United States, weren't. I know that he had quite a prominent stage career, and I have to imagine like he was probably better well known in the UK than he was here in the United States. But he's certainly a big star now. I mean, Sherlock was enough to do it, and then he was Doctor Strange. But yeah, Martin Freeman was I think kind of first came to prominence on the British version of The Office, the UK version, the original version of The Office, which eventually they made the American version, and I think that one kind of actually exceeded the original British version in terms of like its impact in popular culture, certainly here in the United States. The British version was popular over here. I think it got aired on PBS, and maybe that was why the documentary got aired on PBS in the American series, but whatever. But yeah, it got aired over here. I remember seeing it on DVD. It was a pretty popular show over here, popular enough they did an American version of it. But Martin Freeman played the character of Tim, not Jim, Tim, who was the character that they based Jim off of when they made the American version. So this is a suit body that we see a lot in the Marvel Legends line, and that was why I like I said, I'd bought extras of this guy to use as customs. So I'm gonna have a lot of extra Martin Freeman heads left over. What customs am I doing? You'll see eventually. I gotta actually finish them. I got a lot of irons on the fire as far as customs go. But let's go ahead and talk about his articulation. So Everett Ross can look up about that far, look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, not a whole lot. The Marvel Legends head articulation, I don't think is quite as good as other action figure neck articulations, I must say. I think, McFarlane and even Hasbro's own G.I. Joe do a much better job with the neck articulation, not to mention, Mattel. Like, like you can see Skeletor's got a lot more range of motion, and he's got a hood. But he's got other than looking up. Looking up is the one thing that Everett Ross does better than Skeletor as far as neck motion goes. So yeah. Of course, his arms rotate all the way around at the shoulders, move up about that far. Actually, I guess that'll go a little further, won't it? That is really good articulation for a suit body. I don't know why one arm wants to go up so much further than the other, though. Yeah, excuse me. Anyway, I'm just like something's caught in my throat or something. I don't know. I did just eat some food. It might be like just that, like you know, maybe the food affected my throat in some way. I don't know. Whatever. So he's got a bicep swivel. Bicep rotates all the way around. He's got double jointed elbows. That's about the range of motion you get at the elbows. Of course, the wrists rotate all the way around, and they have a horizontal hinge, which means it moves inward and outward like that. And that's the same on both hands. This hand is a gripping hand, so it can hold his pistol. This hand is a little more sort of open and gestury. He's got an ab crunch. So if you pull open his jacket, we can see underneath. There's the ab crunch. He can bend forward about that far. He can bend backward about that far, but you can see the coat's kind of hindering that just a little bit. It doesn't really hinder the range of motion, but once you let it go, you'll see it kind of springs back slightly, just because the coat, while it's pliable, it's not like the softest of rubbers. It's a pretty decent pliability to it, but not quite enough that it's going to stay in that position. He does have waist articulation, so the waist rotates all the way around. Everett Ross can kick up about that far, which pretty good for a middle-aged, totally human secret agent who's not a Skrull at all. Okay, so he's got thigh cut, so the thigh rotates all the way around. He's got a double jointed knee. That's about the range of motion you get at the knee. Does not have a boot cut. He's not even wearing boots. He's got pants legs. But ankle points down about that far. It is a little bit hindered by the pants leg. Ankle points up about that far. Again, a little bit hindered by the pants leg. And technically, this should rotate all the way around, but you're going to have to work it a little bit. So it's that kind of rocker ankle like Hasbro figures usually have. So let's go ahead and put the gun in his hand and see what he looks like with that. And there we go. It's just like a little pistol. It's about what you would figure like some kind of you know intelligence agent would have, something that would fit nicely into a shoulder holster and not cause too much of a bulge or anything like that. It's pretty similar to the kind of gun that, like, I would imagine if James Bond were in the MCU, he would probably have kind of a it looks almost like a pistol, like a firearm, but it's got some like sci-fi kind of elements to it. So that's generally the look of it. So it looks pretty cool with it, I gotta say. And he's an actor that I really like, so I'm of course happy to have a Martin Freeman action figure. Like I said, you know, the whole reason I watched Sherlock in the first place was because I thought he would be a good Dr. Watson, and it was nice to see him pop up in the MCU, even if it's just kind of a small part, and he never got to meet either of the Sherlock Holmes actors. Oh, I think he met Robert Downey Jr., didn't he? Yeah, I think so. In Civil War, right? I think so. But he didn't get to meet Benedict Cumberbatch, so they didn't get to work together again. And it's not like they didn't work together at all after Sherlock or during Sherlock, because again, Benedict Cumberbatch did the voice of Smaug. I think that's how it's said. I always when I read it thought Smog, but like I guess it's Smaug. I don't know. I've never heard Tolkien himself pronounce it, so I guess I should look up how he pronounces it and go with that. But anyway, I think that's pretty much it for Everett Ross. He's a pretty decent figure for like a guy in a suit. And if you want like I did, custom fodder of a character who's wearing a suit, then this is probably a good choice, especially if you've got an Ollie's nearby like I do, and you can pick one up for the low price of $9.99. Good stuff. Yeah, I don't almost see a sticker on this one. Oh, there it is. It's on the back. Yep, $9.99. Good stuff, cheap. That's Ollie's. So anyway, we will be back on the next episode with this feller, Hatut Zeraze. Hatut Zeraz. I don't know how to say that. Why don't I go ahead and real quick look it up on the YouTube, work the Google on the internet machine, and see how somebody else pronounces it. And I'll go ahead and before the next episode, I'll have a better pronunciation of this guy's name, assuming I didn't accidentally stumble onto it as it is. But yeah, he was another one I got from Ollie's. So that's it from this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe. All the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Everett Scott, both the character in general and this figure specifically. And we will talk to you next time. Bye.